BOZAR is very happy to propose you Nothing to be Afraid of by Silva Khnkanosian on the occasion of the 8th March, which became the 15th of March, the International Women's Day. The film that you are going to see or that you have just seen has been selected in major film festival, among them Doc Leipzig, and I mentioned this one because we are partnering with this festival, and IFFR Rotterdam Film Festival, which is a dear festival to us. And we are happy to welcome her for a discussion. We have 3 women on board: Céline Goulekian from AGBU, Anita Kachaturova from Sevipol ULB, and Camila Gilardoni from BOZAR. This is the moment also to thank our deep partners, and our partners for this event online are the Armenian General Benevolent Union, the AGBU Europe, the Centre d'études de la vie politique Sevipol ULB, and the European Armenian Federation for Justice and Democracy. And of course, I would like to thank Aude Merlin, who is personally a real supporting all our activities. So thank you for joining us tonight for the discussion. And again, sorry for what happened last week. It was a technical problem. So we hope to see you soon online for other films and other conversation. I wish you a very good evening.
Thank you, Juliette, for this introduction, and welcome to everyone to this conversation. I will be indeed moderating it, and it is my pleasure to moderate this conversation around Silva's film that puts the spotlight on women from a region that is still little known in Europe, despite being in its neighborhood and despite being the theater of a conflict that is still unresolved now for decades. So I'll introduce our guest. So Silva Khnkanosian is the director of the film. Silva lives in Yerevan, where she was trained at the Manana Youth Center, a media education organization. Nothing to be Afraid of is her first feature film, and she is currently working on a second film. Then we have Anita also with us. Anita Kachaturova is a political scientist currently carrying out a PhD research on the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict at the Free University of Brussels, ULB. Her research focuses on emotions and how they influence and shape a society at war. She has recently returned from Nagorno-Karabakh, where she's been doing her field work, carrying out in-depth interviews with various actors of the Karabakh society, including combatants and veterans. Just a few words on the technical aspect for all those you should already know, but just a reminder for all the questions that you have to our panelists here, you can ask them in the Q&A section at the bottom of your screen, and I will redirect them to our guests. So to start this conversation, I will turn to you, Silva, just to ask you if you can tell us a bit how the film came about. I mean, the film that people saw now was shot in 2018 in Karabakh before the war broke out again last fall. And you follow the daily routines of a group of women deminer more than 2 decades after the first war in Karabakh. So can you tell us a bit how this film came about, how you met this group of particular women that we see in the film, and how and when did you decide to actually make a film about their work?
Hello, thank you very much for inviting me. It's very nice to be in here. Thank you for watching the film, for sure. Hope you are like it. And the film, what I when I have like this idea, I maybe 4 years ago I goes in Karabakh for do some photo story about the again in time for the like a woman about the humanity. It's like this, the woman working with like army, like this. And I goes there for find some characters for photo stories. I found this woman's. I goes there for find maybe some soldier woman or somebody like this. But I found this group of women. They have a strange um, costume, like a jacket, mask, and I goes for ask what is it, and they say me about this um, company. It's called Hala Trust, and they working in the conflict territory for like in Armenia, in everywhere in Iran and somewhere, and they start to clean all the territory. But in Armenia, in Karabakh, they have a group of women. They working together because it's like easy. They need to go somewhere, working there like 5 days in a week, and only the weekends they can come back to home because it's too far this territory when where they live. So that's why the women stay together and work together. These 5 women, and I goes there, and when I start to shoot, it's very interesting. I start to speak about the family, about like it is dangerous. You don't see your family. It's hard maybe to work like this. But when I really watch the work, I understand in time to work, this woman, they are like not the woman. They are just the workers, and they need to very quiet working only. They need to think only about the work. And in time when I start to shoot, when I start to do my photo, in time the work you can't speak high. You can't speak anymore. Like you have to walk very. Like you can't go wherever you want, and in this big territory it's like very no sound, no talking, and for me it's very interesting, and that's why when I start to shoot the film I just shot this work because it's very interesting for me. You go very early to mountains, staying all day in there, and after it in all this day you have like a 40 minutes work, no sound, no talking, 5 minutes break, you can talk but they nobody talk and like this 8 hours. And for me it's very interesting, and I start to shoot just only the work, how it's possible with heads, find the mind, and like this.
But did you say you started as a photography work?
Yeah.
Interesting to.
I do the one photo story. I do one photo exhibition in Armenia, and after it, when I have this exhibition, I start to think about the film because I understand only one shot. It's not enough, or really I can take the audience what I feel in there.
Mm-hmm. And so indeed, the film doesn't tell us much about this woman. It's very quiet, as you say. We follow and focus really on their meticulous and patient work at a slow pace, the way that the work is demanding this slow pace. And this was an interesting approach to the film. We do feel at certain moments that there is still some pain or some fear in them, and it comes out at certain moment, even during the joke that they made at the dinner table, when they speak about the dragon being exploding when it arrives in Karabakh. We have a sense that normal life in Karabakh is nothing but normal, and
No.
it makes us laugh, but it makes us unease as well. And so can you still also tell us a bit more about the personal stories of these women, because we have a sense that they carry a lot inside of them, but the film doesn't tell us much about that.
Yeah, when I in time the shooting, I shoot like interviews with the women. I know every stories these women, how, why they goes in this work, and it's really very strong and very deep. But when I start to edit, I put every these interviews, every strong stories, because like one woman have a 7 children, so she need to care uh, about the children, and that's why she goes in this work. One of the woman's uncle die on the mine because she goes and she start to clean these territories and like this, and it's really strong stories. But when I edit, I understand it's not about my film, because yes, they have a strong stories, but it needs to be another film with these women, with these stories.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to be maybe book,
Mm-hmm.
not this film, because this film about just the work, just this woman. Because, for example, when I goes with them, like in time to shootings, we goes every day with this woman. With the car, we maybe 30 minutes with from dormitory. With like a 30 minutes, we goes with car someplace, and after it, we have to climb the mountains maybe 40 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Like every day, and early morning, like we wake up in 5 o'clock or in 8 o'clock, they need to start the work. And after 3 days, I don't have some this high technical, this high metal detector something. I just have my mask and my jacket, but it's too hard to every day climb these mountains. And for me, it's I don't want to again wake up early morning and goes there, and I can't imagine how this woman can do it. Like 2 years, 3 years. But that's why I start to shoot the how they climb it, how they start this work, but not what they think, because we can see what they think and we can see what they feel, just the shootings, like just when they breathe very high, when they really very nervous start to digging and like this. That's,
Mm-hmm.
I think I tell the story with these shots and with this sound.
Yeah, yeah. Great. I'll turn to Anita and then we'll come back to the film. Anita, you have just returned from Karabakh, where you conducted your field research. You were there from December to February, and before that, you were in Armenia during the war. So you had the opportunity to meet with displaced families in Yerevan and later with families resettling in Artsakh, Karabakh. What can you tell us about the humanitarian and security situation on the ground? So we get also a little bit of a context for the region. You have to unmute yourself.
Thank you for the question. Thank you for the invitation and for that movie that was so beautiful and so emotional. And yes, so the war actually, the war that has occurred, the last war, really reshaped the reality on the ground. It reshaped it for the Armenians, for the Azerbaijanis, and for the region as such as well. And As you said, Celine, I spent 4 months in Armenia, going to Karabakh also after the ceasefire was signed, and I met many people, of course, Karabakhi people who had to move. So now permanently after the war, there are around 40,000 permanently displaced, because what happened is that after the offensive of Azerbaijan, uh, and after the ceasefire was signed, Azerbaijan actually managed to retake many territories. So the territories, the 7 districts that were surrounding Nagorno-Karabakh and that have been under Armenian occupation since 1994, but also parts of Nagorno-Karabakh itself. So there are many people who had to flee from the regions of Hadrut, of Shushi, from surrounding regions as well, and who lost their homes. Many of these people were already refugees from Azerbaijan. So there were also people who actually lost their homes for a second time. The first one during the 90s, the second time now as they were leaving Hadrut and Shushi. So this war, of course, also made a lot of victims. There are around, right now, officially, there are around 4,000 deaths, who were mainly young boys, conscripts, who were actually around between 18 and 20 years old, who were doing their military service. But so yes, 4,000 young men for a population of barely 2.5 million of Armenians is a big humanitarian toll, of course, as you can imagine. And besides that, there's been also around 13,000 wounded, so men who will remain without legs, without arms, without a face, and who really need medical and humanitarian assistance. So of course, on the ground, there are huge humanitarian challenges right now, and to relate it to the issue of mines, of course, during this war, so many banned weapons have been used on the territory of Nagorno-Karabakh, including cluster munitions, and all this also needs to be addressed. And now big cities, so Stepanakert, Matuni, around big cities, it's been cleared up mostly, but so there are also regions, still regions that are very much impacted by those cluster munitions, and it will take time to clear. Yeah, there have also been impacts on the energy supplies. So because the many territories have been taken by Karabakh, so the electric plants, water plants also have been under the control of Azerbaijani forces, and it really took time to reinstall and to provide for the population. Right now, it's been more or less sorted out. So it's been the electric shortages, energy shortages are not that important, but it still remains an issue for many people. And of course the levels of destruction. So the houses that have been destroyed, the many structures where people actually lived and needed
hospitals and schools.
Yes.
And to come back on the mine clearing issue. So, so indeed, the women in the film are working for the Halo Trust. The Halo Trust is, from what I know, the only international NGO actually active in the territory of Nagorno-Karabakh. And there, I think we're done with the clearing of the mine clearing of the Nagorno-Karabakh territory, but they were still working on all the other regions, like the region where the women in the film are working in the Lachin region. So just to also give a context, the women in the film are working in the region of Berzor, Lachin, which is this region that is connecting the Republic of Armenia with Karabakh. So it's a very strategic region. But this region is now under the control of Azerbaijan since the ceasefire. And so what happened to the land that these women cleared? What is the situation with the Halo Trust and those territories? If I guess Silva can.
I think we just took a very big territory in this Lachin, clear, very nice part of clear landscape. We just take the control of Azerbaijan. We just clean and after it's
Yeah. So you meant so they were done with the work.
Yeah.
Mine clearing was.
They cleaned all this territory before the war, and but they have for now, for example, Halo Trust, and in time the war, they start, and my characters too. They start to work with the mines they do it something else, because in time the war you can find the mines just on the ground.
Yeah.
You just the mines. And Trust start to work with this, like clean the city.
The cities, yeah.
Yeah. You just start to clean the streets of the Stepanakert.
Right. So this is what they've been doing since the war, because the shelling also happened a lot in the cities and in the highly populated area in Karabakh. So then the work of the Halo Trust shifted to the urban areas. And you're saying the women in the film have also been working on clearing, because you told me offline that these women actually live in Stepanakert.
Yeah.
Right. And so they were going on Stepanakert, which is the capital of Nagorno-Karabakh, and they were going on these working mission to clear the landmines in different regions than the Halo Trust.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I wanted to ask just to what I said before, so the consequences of the war, also what is very important and a very sensitive issue right now is the issue of prisoners of war, and also civilians actually who are kept by Azerbaijan. Yes, it's a very sensitive topic, but among these people, among the civilians, there were also women, and probably right now they still are women. One of them has been released a few days ago, Maral Najarian, who was actually a Lebanese Armenian who moved to Karabakh after the Beirut blast. And she has been kept by Azerbaijanis. She has been tortured. So the detention conditions also are very bad. And what we get as an information from those people who have been released, but also from the videos, because right now there are a lot of, I mean, all over the world there's been many videos, and that's something that was quite typical of this war, is that it's been online also, and there have been a lot of videos where the war crimes, the executions, the tortures have actually been filmed also. So all this creates a very traumatic experience, I would say, a very traumatic aftermath of the war as well, with this unresolved issue, not only around the territories lost, including now the border issues with Armenia itself, but also with the with the prisoners of wars, with all the people who are left in custody in Azerbaijan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking at if there are any questions from the people following, but I think there are not at this moment. So we will continue the discussion. Yes, there's one. It is addressed to Silva. Can you talk a little bit more about this group of women, the relationship between the women you portrayed in the film? So I guess your relationship to these women.
My relationship with women, it's really very nice, because when I first time goes there, I don't for the very beginning, when I need to have a photo shootings, I stay with them, and after it I have a connection by phone, by Facebook, and when I goes in Karabakh, every time I meet with them, because like I stay with them a lot of times, so I'm just know this women very well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I can say we are like not a friend, but we are know each other very well, and we goes together in my territory. So
right, yeah. I that comes to my mind. Another question comes to my mind, because I actually saw these same women in another film about women deminers in Artsakh, in Karabakh, and so I'm wondering how did they came to be the protagonist of another film on this woman on demining in Karabakh? How much did
you mean another film about the?
about them and their work? Do you know about it?
Yes,
Yeah.
the director calls Emilia. Yeah.
No, Jesse. But maybe they were together. The one of
Maybe
the
yes.
film is called.
Yes.
I mean, it was the same characters. And
No, because
to see that, I was just surprised to see that they
yeah.
were the same. I thought there were probably a lot of women doing this, because I know this is how the Halo Trust is working with local population.
They have they have when I start to shoot, they have a lot of some reportage about the women, because it's like women do men's work like this.
Mm-hmm.
When I start to shoot, I just that time heard about the Emilia's film, and it's like we just have a connection with Emilia, and we try to speak each other for what about your film? Okay, it's my film about this. Okay, mine another. So we just start to continue it. So
And what was it at the same time then?
like at the same time, when I start
Uh-huh.
edit my film, the same time she start to edit.
Okay.
It's very funny story.
Uh-huh.
When I start to, we speak only by Facebook, and it's have some small story when I goes to that this time. I goes to make film in time the war, and my friends call me and say, in the Goris have one girl. Can you take this girl with you in? She goes Stepanakert too. I say yes, and we sit in the car. And this part, when you goes from Goris to Stepanakert, it's very dangerous, because they bombing every time the road. And we sit, and I look her, and I say, I'm sorry, you are Emilia? Yes. We are together, goes to shoot the war.
He was also in Karabakh during the
Yeah,
war with
yeah.
at the same
And it's very strong story, I think, because we start to gain talk. Okay, what about your film? And so it's something a real another film.
Mm-hmm.
We think every time we need to talk each other.
Mm-hmm. There seems to be another question. This is to anyone. Are all the mines of the movie from the 90s? Is the zone a no man land because of the mines since then? Are the women from the region or from Armenia? So are the women in the film from Karabakh or from Armenia, and are all the mines, do they date from the 90s, the mines that they are clearing in the film?
These mines from the 90s, and the all the women that they we like in 4 years ago we have 4 days of war.
Yeah.
Because of before with this war, this Hala Trust company say in 2020 they need to finish all the territory of clean the mines after the 19. But these 4 days of war, their work continued to 2 years more. They add more mines.
Right.
So, and the woman, all of from Karabakh, only one woman from Yerevan.
There, so most of them are from.
One of the women from Yerevan, yeah, she goes there maybe 20 years ago.
Okay, she moved to Karabakh.
She moves to Karabakh, yes.
Yes, and I think this is numbers that are said in your film that according to a 2018 count, there's been 73,268 mines neutralized in Karabakh since the end of the first war. Yeah.
Can I add something when you say about the safely part of for now? It's when the ground, like when the people workers clean all this territory, it's not like 100% it's safe because it's a ground, it's a mountains, and the mines can move. And for example, when we goes every day the same road to the place for shootings, it's like a safe place. But after our shootings, they have some weather's change, and after it, the ground a little bit comes down, and one car, another workers of Hala Trust just blow up the same road when we every day goes, and it's not safe enough. It's you just save 19% of it. It's not a real.
Yeah. And as a region, also, so this is from the Halo Trust as well. They said there have been more landmine accidents in Karabakh per capita than anywhere else in the world.
Yeah.
So this is also.
They have in Karabakh schools, when your children goes to the school, you have a lesson when you learn every mine. You learn how it's like a part of the school day.
Curriculum,
so,
yeah.
You have to know it's like this. Every children knows what is this mine, how it can blow up and like this.
Yeah, because they're the first victims of this mine, of course. Yeah.
So
I think there's let's see, there's been a few other questions. To Silva, I imagine you found obstacles in making the film. Is that so? And if it is, can you tell us a little bit more about it? So what kind of obstacles did you encounter while making your film?
I'm sorry, what you mean about the
obstacles, like things that made it difficult for you to make the film. What type of difficulties you had to make?
Okay. In time the shootings, yeah?
Yes, during the shooting.
It's a very big problem what we have in time the shootings, and with my cameraman, because it's too hard to shoot with this mask and it's cold, and every time my cameraman needs to clean first the mask after the camera, and we can't move whenever we want, and we can't say, can you do it again, please? We don't have a focus. No, nothing. You just need to shoot, not talk. And we can't talk with my cameraman because they need to hear the sound of the detector. And what we do, it's everything, it's not the regular shootings. We just do what we can.
Mm-hmm.
They say you have to stand in here, okay. You have to stop, okay, and like this, and it's too hard.
Right. Yeah.
Like this, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So there's another one. How many more mines have been used in the 2020 conflict? And is the work, I guess the work of the Halo Trust is still ongoing? So we have answered partly this with the Halo Trust. That is,
I don't. They can't say for now how many mines they have. They don't have nothing about it. It's they don't have something for they they don't have information how many mines they have. Where is
right. Probably not on the number, but it says, I think, on their website that they have recorded a wide range of rockets, missiles, shells,
yeah.
as well as 3 types of cluster munitions. And they have found a downed UAV with unexploded missiles. This is what I read on their website, but they have been clearing mostly urban areas, the cities that have been shelled, like Stepanakert and other cities as well,
Yeah.
the past war. What else do we have? So we have actually a few minutes left, but let's see for still 1 or 2 other. There's one question about the division of tasks between women and men, because it's true that it's interesting during in the film we see the man with the whistles and the woman doing the work. So can you tell us something about
Yeah.
that?
It's like this. The man, it's the like a captain of group. Because of they need to organize this very well. So they have 40 minutes working, and the man watch the time. It's 40 minutes. They have like this sound. They need to break 5 minutes, and everybody needs to break because they far each other. The women. It's like big the one line. The woman like working like this, the standing like that, and like this. They working 1 meter, and after like this, they continue it. And when it stopped, everybody needs to stop, because when somebody not stopped, they remove the mask and like this, and it's dangerous. And men like only for this, or they can be the woman. For now, one of my characters, for now, she is the captain. She do it the same. It's not if they're woman, if they're
Right,
men.
not gender based.
No.
Yeah. Okay, I think we only have time for one last question. So this is a long one. So this is from Aude Merlin. I haven't mentioned all the time the names, but so I will just read it. First of all, many thanks for this very beautiful film and for organizing this session. I have several questions. Were there women from Artsakh Karabakh taking part military in the recent war? If yes, was it on voluntary basis? This is the first question. Maybe Anita can answer that one. And if are there differences compared to engagement of women in the previous war? How do people who live in Artsakh, Karabakh see their future? Do people leave, or on the contrary, do they want to stay at any cost? Are there any contacts between Azerbaijani and Armenian filmmakers, some dialogue? Do you think a film like All the Best, Mustafa Aliyev, would be possible? This is the name of the film, or thinkable nowadays. So this is a very large question with many sub-questions. And we have little time. I'll let Camilla let me know if we have to stop at one point, but go ahead, Anita or Silva.
Yeah, I will try to answer on to answer this first questions, yes, about women taking part. Actually, during this war, there were women that went to enroll on a voluntary basis to Karabakh, and there have been training groups, women trained to during the war to actually take part. But I feel that it was more a communication strategy, to be honest, than actually women. I mean, they definitely have been instances of women going, I mean, supporting the front lines and taking part on some level. But I personally haven't met women who, during this war, took part in the combats or in the front lines. And but there has been I think a communication strategy around it, and women actually did take part in trainings and military trainings, and in case they would actually be needed, so in case they would be needed, they would actually go. So on the situation on the ground about how people feel and do they want to stay or leave. So of course there are many displaced and refugees, as I said, and many people, of course, I think want to, or now are in Armenia permanently, but mostly I mean, there's a big part of the displaced who are still in Karabakh, so who are displaced in other parts of Karabakh, in Stepanakert mainly, but other main cities like Martuni. In Stepanakert, I think there are 10,000 of displaced, which is 1 in 6 out of 6 or out of 5 inhabitants actually. So there are, yeah, in terms of organization of the society of the city right now, it's a big challenge. And from what I have felt when I was there, I felt that they were the people who stayed in Karabakh right now, they want to stay. I feel like really there is a feeling that it is our land, we need to stay and we need to defend what is left to defend. And that's something that I really felt, particularly in the younger generations. But I also felt particularly in those people who actually had already left, who were already refugees, who were and who became refugees for a second time, and who were saying, of course, that we won't make the same mistake a second time, and we don't know what will happen tomorrow with Armenia itself, and so we want to find a better life somewhere else.
Anita, I'm so sorry, but we just have to end this conversation here. It's unfortunate because it was, of course, starting to be very interesting. But I have to thank you both for being with us, and thank you to all the participants following this conversation. Silva, good luck with the work that you're working on now. We didn't have a chance to let you say a word about the project that you're working on now, but we'll be happy to hear from it as it goes along. And so thank you again for everyone for following this, and I guess good evening to you all.
I just want to say thank you too. It's very nice to hear like the feedback and interested about the Armenia, about the war, about the film and everything. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, we'll leave it there.